What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the podcast, Talk with Views, episode 145, the Wednesday news. And on today's episode, we're going to talk about the Angels because Mike Trout is moving from center to right field. Plus, the MLS has dropped 32 new jerseys, so we're going to discuss that. And ASU has one of the biggest hockey games this weekend in program history, so we're going to discuss that as well. But first, let's head into the NHL. So we're starting this one in the NHL. Dallas is extending Sam Steele to 2 years, $2.1 million AAV. I think it's a pretty good contract. Sam Steele, know him pretty well from the Anaheim days. Overall, not too bad of a player. I think this is going to be a good long-term deal for Dallas, a good depth forward for the team. Now let's get into international talk. Obviously, we got to talk about the Four Nations. But first, we got some news before the Four Nations even started that the NHL will be bringing back the World Cup of Hockey. That will be in 2028. The locations are undisclosed right now, but the NHL and the NHLPA have agreed to have a World Cup of Hockey in 2028, which is huge. Gary Bettman also said the NHL are looking at how the Olympics and the World Cup every 2 years. So that's huge as well. We're going to have international hockey every 2 years. Best on best. It's going to be great for the sport, great for growing the brand. I'm very excited to bring the World Cup of Hockey back. We haven't had it since 2016. Haven't had international best on best tournament since 2016. That was 9 years ago before this Four Nations tournament came into it. So huge news for international hockey news. But also, Bettman said that there's going to be at least 8 teams in this tournament. What 8 teams? Well, obviously, we're going to see the Four Nations teams. We're going to see USA, Canada, Finland, Sweden. So that's 4 teams. Who are the other 4? Obviously, we would like to see Russia in there. I don't know what they're going to do with the political status of Russia and all this kind of stuff. That's going to be kind of interesting to look forward to when it comes down to it. Team Europe potentially could be coming back because teams like Germany doesn't have enough NHL players to make a team. You get guys like Anze Kopitar who could get into that kind of team as well. So I could see a Team Europe being in there as well. Team North America, when you look back at that 2016 roster, was stacked with great players. I could see a lot of young talent not making the USA Canada team, making this North America team. So I think that would be a must for this World Cup. And potentially a team like Czechia. I think Czechia could be that team in this roster that, or in this lineup of teams that could be the 8th team. I think Czechia has a lot of good players. I don't know if they have enough to make a full roster. That is the biggest thing. I don't know how they fare up against some of these schools or some of these teams, but Czechia, I think, would be that 8th team in there, and I think they actually would have a good chance against some of these teams. But if Russia is not able to go in there, I'm not sure who that 8th team would be. It would have to be something kind of creative with like a Team Europe or Team North America at that point, because I don't know if there's enough teams or enough countries represented in the United States playing. So that's going to be time for 2028. But obviously, let's get into the Four Nations talk. So let's get just a recap of what's going on. So 4 nations, 4 teams. We got into all the round robin games. So we're going to go through all the round robin games, plus a little preview into the championship game, which I won't spoil in case you do not know. But let's get into the round robin games. We'll start off with Sweden and Canada. This was the opener. This one went to overtime. Canada winning this one 4-3. Goals by McKinnon, Marchand, Stone, and Marner. Sweden getting Brodin, Kempe, and Eriksson Ek on the board. Canada scoring the second fastest goal to start a tournament, which belongs to now Nathan McKinnon after scoring a power play goal 56 seconds into the game. So that was huge. Power play explosive. Only took them 12 seconds to score that power play goal for the Canadians. For Sweden, though, they came back into this one, tied it up, forced overtime. Really good overtime, good back and forth action. 10 minutes. 3-on-3 overtime. I think this is something that the NHL needs to adopt. I think this is a lot of fun. A lot of people do not like the shootout ending it. And I'm kind of one of those. I'm okay with the shootout. I think it's exciting, but also I think 3-on-3, 10 minutes was way more exciting than watching 5-on-5 or 3-on-3 for 5 minutes plus a shootout. I think I'll take the 10 minutes. So I think NHL needs to consider adopting that. Maybe not 10 minutes, maybe 7, 8 minutes, but something more than 5 minutes where we know we're going to get an overtime goal. Very exciting, very fun to watch. A great opener in that game. Sidney Crosby was the player of the game, had 3 assists in that one. Moves his win streak from 25 to 26 straight games in an international tournament where he has won for Canada. So that's unbelievable. No one wins 26 games ever when it comes to just about anything. I mean, maybe video game numbers, honestly. So congrats to Crosby and the Canadians winning 4-3 in overtime in this one. Then next night, USA Finland in Montreal once again. Finland scoring the first. Yoki Haru, the defenseman from Buffalo, only had 1 goal going into the tournament. Gets the first goal of the game, but it wasn't enough. USA winning this one 6-1. Goals, both Brady and Matthew Tkachuk scored 2 goals in this one. Matthew was named player of the game. Matt Baldy and Jake Gensel also getting goals. Zach Werenski, 3 assists for him. Connor Hellebuyck looked great. Not a lot of action, 20 saves on 21 shots, but he looked outstanding. Looked like one of the best goaltenders of the 4 goalies that we have seen in this tournament leading into that second game. So really good performance by Hellebuyck. This was also marked as the most viewed non-playoff game on ESPN networks at 1.5 million viewers. So huge ratings when it comes to NHL and expanding their fan base and things like that. I think this is a huge win when it comes to just not having an all-star game and putting it in between a really dull sports week and a half when it comes to NBA. Not much, a lot of college sports, but not a lot of pro. So NHL did a very good job with this. Then we head into Saturday. This was rivalry Saturday. We had Finland, Sweden, Canada, US. 2 big rivalry games here. Finland and Sweden share a border. A lot of bad blood when it comes to hockey. Finland getting the edge in this one. This one also went to overtime, a 4-3 win for the Finns. Sweden, though, with goals from Zibanejad, Dahlin, and Carlson. Finland getting goals from Rantanen, Lundell, Barkov, and Granlund. Granlund getting the overtime winner and the player of the game. Kevin Lankinen was in net for UC Saros. Saros gave up 6 goals in that first game, played all 60 minutes. Lankinen was given the net, made 21 of 24 saves. Philip Gustafsson started this game for the Swedes, making only 2 saves on 4 shots. He was taken out for Linus Ullmark, who finished off the game 15 of 17. So I given up those 2 goals, one of those unfortunately being in overtime for the Swedes. So that was a big game to Canada versus US, where the US won this one in an explosive game, a 3-1 win for the United States. But it started off from the very beginning. Opening draw, we had fights, Matthew Tkachuk versus Brandon Hagel. Then we had Brady Tkachuk versus Sam Bennett right after that. And lastly, not too long after, a little dump in on the play. Bennington swallows it, a little scrum from the net. JT Miller fights Colton Parayko. Parayko did get the upper edge in that one, but awesome. 3 fights in 9 seconds. We had a total of 19 penalty minutes for the U.S., 17 for Canada, and it was a wild game. Once those fights did happen, it really did end up settling down as a whole, but a very good contest between these two. A lot of bad blood, but you love it. You love to see this kind of thing. You get an awesome overtime game with Sweden and Finland. Then you go to the nightcap. You have an awesome 3-1 win for the U.S. Fights. Everybody's talking about it on Twitter. We had guys like Field Yates talking about it. He's an NFL Twitter analyst guy for ESPN as well. He's an insider. He's saying that the NHL did it right, and they really did. But let's get into the game a little bit. Canada getting goals from Connor McDavid. U.S. Getting 3 goals in total. Larkin gets one. Larkin with not an empty netter. The second goal of the game, which was the game-winning goal. Gensel with an empty netter at the end and opened it up for the U.S. in scoring. So he had 2, but also his 3rd of the tournament. He also got player of the game. Connor Hellebuyck looked outstanding in this one. 25 saves on 26 shots. Really awesome performance by him. But overall, 4.4 million viewers on ABC, which was the most watched non-Stanley Cup game since 2019. Now we head into, I'm recording this on Tuesday, so we're heading into Monday, yesterday's contest. Finland and Canada, they both teams went into this one with 2 points, knowing that a regulation win by either of these teams gets them into that championship game. A result in overtime would then have to lead to a Sweden loss, but a lot on the line for both teams. Came down to Canada winning this one 5-3. A really strong performance by Canada. They looked like they were going to dominate this one, up 4-0. Finland ended up chipping away near the end of the game. Also 2 goals at the end, 23 seconds within within each other in the last 2 minutes to make it a 4-3 win or 4-3 game. Crosby ended up hitting an empty netter, making it 5-3. Really sealing the deal for Canada. The goal scorers, McDavid got his second of the tournament. McKinnon got two, his second and third of the tournament. Braden Point and Sidney Crosby with goals. For Finland, Granlund had two, his second and third of the tournament, and Esa Lindell getting a goal as well. So Canada got the regulation win. They clinched a spot, meaning that the game following that one was USA-Sweden, meaning that there was really nothing on the line. And good thing for the U.S. because injuries were the biggest focus for both teams. We'll start off with the U.S. Charlie McAvoy was out with an upper body injury, and unfortunately he went to the hospital. It sounds like whatever that injury was, which they do not have to disclose because of its international tournament, did get infected. So not too sure what it was. Can't figure it out, but hopefully he is okay. They also announced he will not be ready for that Thursday matchup against Canada. So that's a huge loss to the defense there. Austin Matthews was out with upper body soreness, so it just sounds like they were resting him. Matthew Tkachuk was left last game, or did not leave. He just didn't play the rest of that Canada game with a lower body injury. He was out for this game, but he is good for the championship game regardless if he's hurt or not. He said he's going to play. Brady Tkachuk started this game, but was injured after colliding with the net and did not return in that one. So that was a big loss there for the U.S. And Vincent Trout injured his hand on a slash, it looked like, during play. He played the rest of the game, but you could tell it was kind of bothering him a little bit. So the U.S. were down a lot, and they really had no other substitutions there. So they were playing short of forward to start that one, and then Brady getting out. They only had 10 forwards for the remainder of that game, which was more than 2/3 of that game. For Sweden, Linus Ullmark and Rickard Rakell were both out with illnesses, meaning that Ersing for Sweden was in net. Gustafsson was not playing. He was the backup to Ersing, and Ersing played great. 32 at 33 saves, gave up one goal, second shot of the game. It was a shot off the draw 35 seconds into the game. It was a shot for the rebound by Werenski. Kreider, who just came in the lineup in for Tkachuk, buried it 1-0 USA. Sweden, though, ended up just playing a better game as a whole. They got goals from Nyquist and Bratt to win this one 2-1 for Sweden. Unfortunately, there was no real big thing besides a good pat on the back. You beat USA, but their tournament is over. Leading us to a preview of USA versus Canada once again. Charlie McAvoy will not play because of that upper body injury and that infection. Quinn Hughes is technically in the Boston area. He is ready to go if the U.S. can get him dressed and practice. Unfortunately, because of the rules, he is not able to practice or be around the team pretty much at all because they need to have one more injury to a defenseman for him to be activated. This is tough news. I don't know the likelihood that Hughes will play, but I will put this out there. What's the likelihood that we see the U.S. maybe fake an injury to one of their smaller defensemen, maybe like Sanderson, faking an injury or something like that to get Quinn Hughes in this lineup to make this team just a little bit better? Because if you're going to have this many injured players against a team like Canada who do not have any injuries announced outlined, it sounds like Cale Makar will be perfectly fine for that game. He did play in the game against Finland. That team looked really good with Makar in that lineup. They're going to have the most healthy team there. Is the U.S. going to be not so healthy? Could we see Quinn Hughes get in there for one game maybe? I don't know. Hopefully is my hope, but obviously only time will tell. So Quinn being in the Boston area, huge news, but still not confirmed that he can play. So hopefully everybody else is healthy, and maybe McAvoy will be the only one not. But I think Connor Hellebuyck is going to be that guy that's going to have to step up. Jake Oettinger looked fine in the last game, but Hellebuyck is really the reason why they got to that point. This point, 2 goals given up through 2 games. Obviously, a 1 goal against average per game. So I think Hellebuyck is the guy moving forward. I think he is going to be the guy that if the U.S. is going to win, it's going to be Connor Hellebuyck sending it to the next level, really shutting down that offense for the Canadians. But really big back checking from Dylan Larkin, Austin Matthews, as long as he's healthy, Jack Eichel. I think those guys playing on their defensive side, on the forward side, it's also going to be big there too. So a lot to dissect there, but hopefully you guys got a lot of that. And hopefully you guys and watch this. This is going to be a Thursday night game. A lot of eyes are going to be on this. But the NHL does start back up on Saturday. Everybody plays Saturday, so go check out what time your favorite team plays. All right, let's head to the MLB where we got announcer news. Joe Buck will be back in an MLB broadcast booth. He will be calling the opening day game for the Yankees versus the Brewers on ESPN. This is huge. I'm surprised we haven't seen Joe Buck in a MLB ESPN broadcast booth since signing that contract with ESPN. He hasn't done a baseball game since 2021. Obviously, this isn't a lot of crazy news, but Joe Buck is one of those traditional broadcasters that whether you like him or you don't, you know the name, you know the voice. I think this is going to be good for the sport. I think there's going to be a lot more people tuning in just because Joe Buck is doing that game. So he's got opening day for Yankees and Brewers on ESPN. We got some Angel news. Anthony Rendon will be out long-term as he has to recover from a hip surgery. Yeah, exactly. Angels also got some other news. Mike Trout announced that he is going to be moving from center field to right field this upcoming season. Trout has not played right field since his rookie season back in 2012. Wow, which was a long time ago. But with his health problems, being in right field, I think will limit some of the problems he's having. I think it's going to be a little bit less on him, but he also said he will be DHing when he can. So hopefully just keeping him in the lineup as long as he can. If we get 130 or so games out of Mike Trout this season, it's asking a lot, but it's definitely, I think, a possibility. So I think Mike Trout definitely needs to be in the lineup. And if moving to right field is the best option, then let's see it move to right field. The New York Mets announced that Frankie Montas will be shut down for a significant stretch. The injury was not disclosed, but that's tough news for the new signing there. The LA Dodgers announced that Yoshinobu Yamamoto and Hiroki Sasaki will both get a start in the Tokyo series. This is huge. Both games will be against the Chicago Cubs. One of those starts will be against Shota Imanaga. So 3 out of the 4 starters so far announced will be Japanese-born players. Huge for the sport, huge for Japan, this Tokyo series in Japan. They're definitely going to be filling that stadium up, not just for Ohtani, but now for Sasaki, Yamamoto, and Imanaga. Huge announcement for all of those teams. Now let's get into some signings. The Padres announced that they signed starting pitcher Nick Pivetta to 4 years, $55 million. Boston signs a big contract. Alex Bregman finally signs. He signs for 3 years, $120 million, with opts out after both years. So very interesting contract, something we haven't normally seen too much out of it. But Bregman sounds like he's going to be moving to second base. They were talking to him about him moving to third base in front of Rafael Devers. Don't know where Devers would go. Maybe he'd go to first base. Maybe he'd just be a long-term DH. I don't really know. Bregman did just say whatever's best for the team, he'll play. So I expect Bregman to probably start at second base, Devers at third, but who knows? Maybe we'll see that change. Injuries also occur, so maybe Bregman will get that third base spot. Who knows? KC announced that they extended Cole Reagans to 3 years, just under $14 million. Really low-end contract. I really like that one. Arizona extends Geraldo Perdomo to 4 years, $45 million, the shortstop for the D-backs. I think he's actually a very good, underrated shortstop. Nothing too exciting from him, but he's a very good player. Chicago announced that they're signing Justin Turner. The terms are not disclosed, as that just happened earlier this morning. But Turner, veteran guy, going to the Cubs. And lastly, Toronto's announced that they did not agree on a new contract agreement for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. So that means after this season, Vladdy will be a free agent. What does that mean? My initial thoughts is he's going to LA, not for the Dodgers, but for the Angels. Follow in his father's footsteps. Vlad Sr. played a long time with the Angels, had some of his best years as an Angel, was the 2004 AL MVP with the Angels. I think Vladdy coming over to LA, Anaheim specifically, is inevitable. I think him wearing a different number than 27, because obviously Mike Trout has that, but maybe 72 or something along those lines, just to follow in his dad's footsteps, I think would be awesome. I think the Angels would definitely like that, because I am not a big fan of Nolan Shawnewell, who is the first baseman right now. If you get Vladdy in this lineup, I think that's a huge improvement. Yes, it's another righty bat, and they have a lot of righty bats right now in the lineup. But regardless, I think you take the name. I think you take the player. Vladdy Jr. is a player I would love to see in an Angel uniform. So I think that is going to be an awesome free agent signing for anybody, but hopefully the Angels are part of that bidding. All right, let's head to soccer, specifically just talking about MLS this week because we got two things. We got new jerseys to talk about, but we also got news on the CONCACAF Champions Cup game in Kansas City. It's going to be Inter Miami versus Sporting KC. This game was moved from Tuesday night to Wednesday night due to the weather. The game on Tuesday night would have been in 19 degrees below for that one. Instead, it will be on Wednesday night, which is supposed to be -3 degrees. That is still a very cold game, but at least I guess it's a little bit better. Regardless, a very cold game for Inter Miami and Sporting KC. But that means the game on Saturday between NYCFC and Inter Miami moves to Saturday. So if you guys care about Inter Miami watching those games, that game is moved to Saturday. So watch out for that on your listings there. But let's head into the new jerseys. We got new jerseys for every team. I think a lot of them look really good. I think some of them look really bad. So let's get into quickly my reactions to all the jerseys. So we got 32 jerseys to look at. We'll start off alphabetically. So Atlanta United. They went with the classic red and black stripes. A lot of black in this one compared to the last couple ones where there's been more red in this one. Overall, very classic look. They really don't mess it up. That's why I gave it a 5.1 out of 10. They do it every time. You kind of expect it from Atlanta. Next up, we have Austin. Their first uniforms, which I actually personally have, looked pretty solid. It was a lot of dark colors. It was a dark green and black. This one, they went more green with accents of black. When I say accents, moving forward, there's these little stripes on the top here and at the bottom. Those are going to be the accents. So if I say, like in this one, black accents, it's the black at the top and the bottom, black stripes for the Adidas stripes, and it's black sponsor logos on the front. So moving forward, just to kind of clarify what I mean by accents, stripes, and sponsors. So for Austin, they went with the dark green and a little bit lighter green pinstripes at the front, and then black accents, stripes, and logo for sponsors. Overall, much better than the last one, I think. I give it a 6.7 out of 10. Still not a favorite of it, but I think it looks better than the two really dark colors and black and green alternates that they had last year. Next up, we got Charlotte FC. Primarily black uniform, silver accents, silver striping, silver logo on the front, and they took away the big crest and just put the letters there. I think that's actually a good addition there. I like that a lot. I give it an 8.5 out of 10. I think it looks really good. I like the more color that they had last year with like their purples and things like that, but these black ones look really cool. I think they look good with that design too that you could kind of tell in the picture. It's hard to explain, so if you guys are on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, go check out the YouTube channel because you can watch these uniforms because it's kind of hard to explain some of these moving forward. But overall, really nice uniform, 8.5 out of 10 for me. For Chicago, we got a light blue uniform with dark blue sponsor stripes and accent colors. A little bit of red in the collar. Honestly, not enough for me, though. I give it a 5.1 out of 10. I think the colors are there. I'm missing a little bit more red. I like the red in the collar. I think I could use maybe some red in the accent colors or some sort of striping. There's just nothing else to this uniform for me. Next, we got FC Cincinnati. I think this looks really good. It's an odd looking uniform. It's dark blue at the top with an angled orange stripe and then a lighter blue at the bottom. Orange stripes on the arms, white sponsor logo, no accent colors here. I think it looks pretty solid. I give it a 7.6 out of 10. I'm liking it a little bit more than I did initially, but it is very bold and in-your-face uniform, which I could see why some people do not like that. Next up, we got Colorado here. Colorado, it's a very interesting uniform. I've never seen something like this before. It's primarily, I guess, probably white uniform. It might be even considered something else, but it looks more white with the front of the jersey depicting trees covered in snow. I don't really know. It looks like kind of like paint kind of brushed up like that, kind of like padded, not brushed up and down, but like padded on a canvas or something like that. That's kind of what the vibes it gives me. With the new crest, it looks like the city flag or the state flag with the C and the colors behind it. I actually really like the crest. I think the uniform colors look pretty nice. Overall, just kind of interesting, just kind of like that, but I don't think I'd be buying this myself, but I give it a 6.4 out of 10. I think it looks good. I think it's just missing just a little something for me. Next up, we got the Columbus Crew, primarily black uniform with almost like a either paint or a concrete cracking look to this, with yellow accents, yellow sponsors, yellow logo, yellow stripes. Everything else is yellow besides the base of the uniform. It's a lot. It seems like it's a lot of yellow, but I actually really like the kind of the cracked look to it. 7.9 out of 10 for me. I think it looks pretty cool, a little bit different there for the Columbus Crew. Next, we got FC Dallas. Now, a lot of people, I think, are not going to like this uniform. It looks kind of boring. It's I think a slate gray, very light looking gray jersey with red accents, red and blue logo, blue sponsor logo, blue stripes. I really, really like this uniform. I love the logo. I think the logo looks awesome. 8.3 out of 10 for me. I would actually get this myself. The only thing is, yes, it's a little bit boring, but I think the colors work. I think it just needed a better design here. And I really do like how they recolorized the logo. I think that looks outstanding. So out of the park, Dallas. I think that looks great. Next up, we got DC United. This is a kind of cherry blossom looking uniform inside the accents. Kind of hard to explain, but there's that cream base uniform with maybe a brown or black sponsor logo and striping. I can't really tell based off the picture. Personally, I don't really like this uniform. I think there's too much going on. I think if you went the cream and the brown, it would look good, but the accent colors are just too much. It's too much color in there. I do give them props for recoloring the logo on the crest, but overall, not for me. 2.8 out of 10. It's just too much going on in my eyes. Next up, we got the Houston Dynamo. This uniform, it looks okay. I mean, it's an orange-based uniform with white stripes, white sponsor, gray accents. The design on the front, up close, looks kind of cool. It's a bunch of diamond patterns there, but nothing too much for me. I give it a 6.3 out of 10. I think it could have been better, but they really didn't do too bad on it, but nothing too special. Sporting KC, this is a uniform that I guess looks okay. I'm not a huge fan of it. It's a light blue base uniform with 3 stripes on the front, kind of in different styles of the stripings. It's hard to explain again. Those are in the navy, white stripes on the top, white accents. Sponsor logo is the dark navy color. I give it a 3.2 out of 10. I do not like this uniform at all. The striping to me is not good, and the striping on the arms, on the shoulders or arms, whatever you want to call it, being white, I do not like. I do not think that works well. 3.2 out of 10 for me. I just not a fan of that. Now the Galaxy. I love this uniform right out of the gate. I'm giving it a 10.10 before I even explain it. I think this uniform looks outstanding. It is a primarily purple uniform with a couple of like ombre spots from like purple to a lighter pinkish purple in a couple areas. Kind of gives me like Northern Lights feel. I'm not sure exactly what they're going for here, but I really like it. I think it looks cool. The accents kind of blend into that as well. It's the dark purple, so you kind of lose it in there. It looks good. I like that. The stripes and the logo are gold. The sponsor logo is gold. They got the new star at the very top there. Love it. 10 out of 10. Would not change anything about this uniform. Really would love to have this in my collection. Then we have LAFC. This is a uniform that at first I really liked it. After looking at it, I think it needs more. It's a white-based uniform with no really big design besides gold accents, gold striping, gold sponsor logo. I give it a 6.8 out of 10. I think it looks nice, but I would like maybe some sort of design in a pattern or something like that inside of the white. But it looks pretty solid. I mean, there's worse uniforms to come. But at first I really liked it. It's just kind of whittling down for me there. Next up, we got Inter Miami. This is a very nice looking uniform. 2-tone striping of pink on the front of the uniforms, black sponsor logo, and striping on the arms. Overall, it looks good. I don't think it's their best Miami uniform that we've seen from them. So I go to 7.4 out of 10. I think a 5.9 out of 10. A little spoiler for the next uniform. I think it looks good. I'd get it because I don't have a Miami Messi jersey, but I think there's other pink ones that that they had that they look better. Now this is the other one. They have a new black uniform, a two-tone black split down the middle with black on the left side and like a lighter black or gray, if you even want to just call it just gray, on the other side. I like this uniform better. I give that one a 7.4 out of 10. I think the logos pop on that. The sponsor logo pops. I like this a lot better than the pink one. So I think I'd actually get this one over the striped pink one, but I'm not going to complain. If I got the pink Miami jersey, it would look great. But I just like the black one a little bit better. Next up, we got Minnesota United. This is a uniform that looks okay. It's a light blue base uniform to like a changing color to more white towards the middle. Black accents, sponsor, and stripe colors. 7.2 out of 10. It looks pretty solid. I just feel like it's a lot of colors going on, but I think it's just could have been executed just a tad bit better. Then we got Montreal. This is a interesting uniform as well. I mean, there's not much to it. It's black and blue stripes, white logos, white striping at the top. To me, I do not like it at all. I give it a 1.5 out of 10. Then we head to Nashville. It is a very simple logo or simple jersey, just like the LAFC one. Instead, it is a navy blue base, and it's got yellow striping, sponsor, and accent colors. For me, 5.1 out of 10. I think the colors look good, but it's boring, and I think I'd rather have the LAFC jersey over this one. New England Revolution. This is a white base uniform with a teal zigzag design, if you want to call it that, and a navy blue sponsor, accent, and stripes onto the jersey. Overall, it's okay. I don't think it looks all that great, though. 4.6 out of 10 for me. I think New England could have done better. The New York Red Bull. This uniform to me is awful. It is, I guess, a stone based jersey, if you even want to call it that, with maybe, I guess, like digital camo look on the front, but not in all the spots. Black accents and stripes with the Red Bull sponsor being their normal colors. I really do not like this. A 0.1 out of 10. I do not think this looks good at all. I think they need to go back to the drawing board on this one. And the New York City FC, light blue uniform with an abstract pattern of dark blue on there, white striping, navy blue sponsor logo. I do not like this one either. I think both New York Cities did not do a good job. I do not have one that I like better than the other. I think both are terrible. So I give New York City FC a 0.1 out of 10 as well. I do not think these look good. Orlando City, purple base uniform, white striping, white sponsor, an interesting like Ben-Day dot design on the front in a lighter purple. I think the lighter purple looks okay. It's just kind of busy for me. A 4.3 out of 10. I think they're just better options that Orlando has put out there. Philadelphia Union, a teal base uniform or aqua, whatever you want to call that, with a lightning pattern design throughout the uniform, which is in yellow plus yellow striping. I think it actually looks pretty cool. 7.7 out of 10. I think there's been a couple of better color or jerseys with these colors on there, but I think this one actually looks pretty cool. If I found it, I definitely would be picking it up. Portland Timbers, they came out with a 50th anniversary logo with a dark green base with a little bit of design on the front that you can only tell up close. Gold striping on the shoulders, gold sponsor logo. Overall, it's kind of basic and bland, but I really like the dark green with the accent of the gold. 6.1 out of 10 for me. I think it looks pretty damn good. Real Salt Lake coming out with a white-based uniform, really resembling a lot of the Croatian World Cup jerseys. Red striping on the shoulders, but the design on the front is a checkered pattern of white and dark blue, outlined in red pinstriping around each of the boxes. Yellow sponsor logo on the front. I think actually, oddly enough, I wasn't a huge fan of the Croatian ones. I think they were better ones, but I think for Real Salt Lake, they did really well with the colors. I give it a 7.5 out of 10. For Real Salt Lake to drop this one, I don't like it. But in general, for a uniform, I really do like it. I think the white looks really good with that dark blue. So 7.5 out of 10. Then we get to San Diego. This is a navy-based uniform. It looks pretty solid. There's just nothing else to it. I like the design on the inner accents. It kind of resembles the outside of the logo from red, white, blue gradient, silver striping, and sponsor logo. Overall, it's nothing special. It's the first uniform of their history. 6.3 out of 10. I think they could have done a little bit more. For the white one, they went a white base with a sky blue accent and a dark blue striping and sponsor logo. The logo, just for me, doesn't pop off the front of the uniform, the crest, which kind of, to me, it looks like it gets lost. 4.7 out of 10. I just think they could have done a lot better being their first year, and especially with how kind of boring the logo is, but the little colors on the outside, I think they could have resembled that a little bit better in the white uniform. Then we head to San Jose. This is a black base uniform with a blue front and striping, and on the front has like a newspaper design depicting a lot of things in their history. It is very busy. I do not like it at all. A 2.3 out of 10. From afar, it probably looks fine, but up close, I think it's just too much on the eye. Not for me. Seattle, they have a new dark blue base uniform with lighter blue accents in a triangle zigzag design, which I actually really like the design. I like the colors being executed here. I really like the new teal crest that they recolorized there to match it. 9.1 out of 10. I don't think I really would change anything about this. It looks really good. Good job by Seattle. St. Louis City SC, they came out with a red base uniform, white stripes, dark red accents. I don't really like the dark red accents too much, but I like the whole just kind of simplicity and the collar in this one. 6.1 out of 10 for me. Toronto, dark red and lighter red base uniform. Kind of hard to explain, but overall, I actually kind of really like the two red colors in this one. I think this one's executed better than St. Louis. So I give this one an 8.10 out of 10. Nothing crazy. If I saw it, I'd pick it up, but I'm not going to go hunting it. I just think it looks kind of cool with the two different tones of reds. Vancouver, a white base uniform with a blue stripe down the middle holding the sponsor logo. A bigger slosh of blue on the R's, which I thought was kind of cool. A little bit different. Not a lot of teams do stuff like that in the MLS. For me, 6.5 out of 10. I think it looks pretty solid, but nothing to really go out and try and buy straight out of the gate. But a lot of good uniforms, a lot of bad uniforms. But let me know what you guys thought your favorite uniform was. All right, let's head to college baseball, where we have notable results. Obviously, we'll start off with Friday. Number 2, Virginia losing to Michigan in 11 innings, 5-4. Cincinnati beating number 11 Duke, 8-3. Number 17 Oklahoma State losing number 15 Clemson, 5-6. Number 19 Texas losing to Louisville 3-4. UC Irvine beating number 24 Nebraska 10-5. On Saturday, Toledo beat number 12 Oregon 5-3. Number 24 Nebraska beat number 16 Vanderbilt 6-4, and 15 Clemson beat number 21 Arizona 16-5. On Sunday, number 8 Georgia beat or lost to UNC Wilmington 6-2. Cincinnati beat number 11 Duke 19-5. Ole Miss beat number 15 Clemson in 7 innings 15-5. Number 17 Oklahoma State beat or lost to number 19 Texas 14-8, and number 21 Arizona lost to Louisville 13-1. With that all being said, the new top 25 for this week has not a lot of changes. No movement for the first 10 spots. We had Texas A&M, Virginia, LSU, Tennessee, Arkansas, North Carolina, Oregon State, Georgia, Florida State, and Florida taking 1 through 10. Now we have some movements. +1 rating to Oregon to 11. NC State gets +1 to 12. Wake Forest gets +1 to 13. Clemson gets a +1 to 14. Vanderbilt gets a +1 to 15. Texas gets a +3 to 16. Duke drops 6 to 17. Mississippi State stays put at 18. Oklahoma State gets a -2 to 19. Dallas Baptist stays put at 20. Santa Barbara gets a +1 to 21. TCU gets a +1 to 22. Nebraska gets +1 to 23. Troy gets a +1 to 24. And Cincinnati gets some unranked to 25. The only team to drop out this week was Arizona from the 21 position. Arizona State update of the weekend. They played Ohio State at home and they won each of the games. So a series sweep to open up the weekend. Friday, a 9-8 win. They got out hit, but still able to win this one. Lucas Kelly getting the win and Will Koger getting the save. ASU was down 3 separate times in this game, able to come back and claw their way to victory. Saturday, 7-6 win hits. They out hit Ohio State 10-8. Errors were 1-1. Wyatt Halverson getting the first win of the season. Nick Corpenhagen getting the loss in this one. Kian Vu 2 for 3 getting a stolen base. Brandon Compton though, player of the weekend, announced player of the weekend for the Big 12. Went 3 for 4 RBIs, a home run, and a double. Big game for him. Sunday was 17-10 win for Arizona State. Hits were 12-8 Ohio State. Errors were 6-2 Ohio State. Anyways, though, ASU prevailing. Josh Butler getting the win. Jake Mikulek getting the loss. Ohio State was down 10-2 at one point after being up 2-0 in the first inning. Not a good pitching performance and fielding performance from the Buckeyes, but a tough look that week for Ohio State to open it up. This upcoming week, Arizona State plays Austin Peay for the weekday matchup, then 3 games against Oral Roberts at home. I expect them to take the win against Austin Peay and take 2 games against Oral Roberts out of the 3. Pitching is definitely going to be a big issue, looks like, moving forward, but it seems like that's the issue moving forward for a lot of Arizona State teams. So obviously we're just going to have to wait and see. All right, now let's head to college softball. Notable results will start off on Tuesday. Number 16, Missouri losing to UCF 6-5. On Thursday, we had number 9, Florida State beating number 16, Missouri in 6 innings, 9-1. Number 20, Oregon losing to Arizona State 3-4. And number 24, Kentucky losing to Virginia 4-1. On Friday, we had number 8, Texas Tech losing to Texas, ranked number 1, 2-1. Number 14, Duke losing number 2, Florida in 5 innings, 9-0. Number 10, Oklahoma State losing number 4, UCLA 6-4. Number 21, Northwestern losing to number 7, LSU 7-1. Number 10, Oklahoma State beating number 24, Kentucky 6-3. San Diego State upsetting number 24, Alabama 4-1. Number 12, Alabama losing to Liberty 6-7. Number 16, Missouri losing to Ohio State 7-2. Nebraska getting 2 big run rule games in the Friday results, 20-1 over Texas A&M Corpus Christi in 5 innings, and a 10-0 win over New Mexico State. Number 18, Virginia Tech beating number 21, Western Michigan 3-0, and Villanova upsetting number 25, Florida Atlantic 1-0. Then we had 2 Saturday and Sunday results. On Saturday, number 3, Oklahoma beat number 23, Baylor 9-1. Number 24, Kentucky lost to number 4, UCLA 4-1. Number 4, UCLA beat number 12, Alabama 6-3. Number 5, Texas A&M losing to number 10, Oklahoma State 6-5. Number 21, Northwestern getting shut out by number 7, LSU 8-0. Number 18, Virginia Tech losing to number 7, LSU 7-2. And San Diego State beating number 16, Missouri 5-2. We had Sunday, number 8, Texas Tech losing again to number 1, Texas, this time in 5 innings to an 11-0 scoreline. Number 14, Duke beating number 2, Florida 8-1. Number 3, Oklahoma shutting out number 23, Baylor in 5 innings, 8-0. Number 4, UCLA dropping their first game of the year to Virginia, 7-6. Number 18, Virginia Tech losing to number 7, LSU, 7-4. Number 12, Alabama losing to number 10, Oklahoma State, 4-3. And lastly, Louisville beating number 25, Florida Atlantic, 4-0. With that being said, here are the top 25. No movements for the top team. Texas stays put. Oklahoma, though, gets a +1 to 2, where Florida drops 1 to 3. UCLA stays put at 4. LSU gets a +2 to 5. Texas A&M and Tennessee both drop to 6 and 7. Florida State gets a +1 to 8. Georgia gets a +2 to 9. Arkansas gets a +3 to 10. U of A gets a +4 to 11. Texas Tech drops 4 to 12. Oklahoma State drops 3 to Oklahoma State. Duke stays put at 14. Nebraska gets +2 to 15. Mississippi State gets +3 to 16. Virginia Tech gets a +1 to 17. Auburn goes from unranked to 18 as they start 11-0 on the year. Oregon gets a +1 to 19. Stanford gets a +2 to 20. Alabama drops 9 to 21. Missouri drops 6 to 22. San Diego State goes from unranked to 23, along with South Carolina to 24, and Liberty also does to 25. The teams that drop out: Northwestern from 21, Baylor from 23, Kentucky from 24, and Florida Atlantic from 25. Other receiving votes, the top 5 were Baylor, Kentucky, Kentucky, Northwestern, FAU, and Indiana. This week, Arizona State hosted another tournament, this time with some big wins. They beat number 20 Oregon 4-3, out hitting Oregon in this one. Also had more errors, but still were able to get that one done. Next game, they lost to North Dakota 10-1, getting out hit 11-6, and they had 2 errors in that game. Not a good pitching performance there. Weber State was next up. Arizona State won this one in 5 innings, 11-0, only giving up 2 hits, hitting 10 themselves, and Weber State getting 2 errors to Arizona State's 1. Washington then was up, and ASU upset that one, a 4-1 win there. Hits were even at 7, errors 1 for Washington, none for Arizona State. Kenzie Brown with the win in that one. 4 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 7 Ks, 2-0 on the season. For Arizona State's last game on Saturday was Belmont. They lost in 8 innings, a nightmare performance in the 8th inning. Belmont winning this one 5-1. Yes, 5-1 in 8 innings. 3 big throwing errors in that inning, leading to runs, so a lot of unearned runs. 5 total errors on the game for Arizona State in that one. So obviously you're not going to win games if you get 5 errors in a matchup. Lastly was Sunday. ASU beat Utah Valley 4-3. Hits were 5-5. ASU with 1 error, but Julianne Tipton getting the win in this one, her first of the year. 4 2/3 innings pitched, 1 hit, no runs, 2 Ks, and a walk. This upcoming week, they play GCU for the weekday. Then they host another tournament where they have to face number 3 Florida, CBU, Portland State, and New Mexico State. Personally, I think this team can beat Florida. I just do not think they will. Florida's a very tough team this year. So I think that's going to be their only loss of the week. I think ASU is going to beat GCU, CBU, Portland State, and New Mexico State, roll into the next tournament, which again, they host again, into a very good looking record with only 4 losses on the year. Hopefully that's true. But we'll see. I think that game against Florida on Friday is definitely going to be a tough matchup though. It's going to be a really fun game to watch though. All right, let's head to college hockey. We'll start off again with notable results. Friday, number 9 Boston University lost to number 7 Providence 6-3 right after coming off the Beanpot victory, so a tough loss there. New Hampshire tying number 5 Maine 1-1. Number 20 Omaha losing to number 4 Western Michigan in overtime 4-5. Number 19 Colgate losing to Yale 4-5. Number 14, Quinnipiac smoking Union 7-2. Number 13, UMass Lowell dropping 2-0 loss to Northeastern. Number 16, UMass beating number 1 Boston College 3-2. Number 3, Minnesota losing to number 12 Michigan in overtime 3-2. Number 11, Arizona State losing to Minnesota Duluth in overtime 3-2. Number 17, North Dakota losing to number 6 Denver 4-0. Then we had to Saturday when number 20 Omaha lost to number 4 Western Michigan 6-1. Number 3 Minnesota tying number 12 Michigan 2-2. Number 7 Providence losing to number 9 Boston University 3-0. Number 19 Colgate losing to Brown 6-3. Number 1 Boston College beating number 16 UMass 4-1. Number 11 Arizona State tying Minnesota Duluth 3-3. And number 17 North Dakota beating number 6 Denver 3-1. At the end of that game, a fight did break out. Emery for North Dakota and Bulliam for Denver did throw punches and were ejected, obviously, from the end of the game. It's over though. Both players will be suspended 1 game for their actions in that one. With that being said, though, this is the new top 20. We got a new number 1. Michigan State moves up 1. Boston College drops down to 2. Western Michigan gets plus 1 to 3. Minnesota drops 1 to 4. Maine stays put at 5. Ohio State gets plus 2 to 6. Denver drops 1 to 7. Boston University jumps up 1 to 8. Providence drops 2 to 9. UConn stays put at 10. Michigan gets plus 1 to 11. ASU drops 1 to 12. UMass Lowell, Quinnipiac, Minnesota State, and UMass all stay put at 13, 14, 15, 16. Penn State gets plus 1 to 17. North Dakota drops 1 to 18. And Clarkson and Augustana go from unranked to 19 and 20. The teams that drop out, Colgate from 19, Omaha from 20. Other receiving votes, the top 5 were Cornell, Colorado College, Omaha, New Hampshire, and Wisconsin. This week, Arizona State had to face Minnesota Duluth. Not a very good weekend. Special teams struggled. Results were not there. A 3-2 loss in overtime on Friday. Goals from Schlane and Sillinger. Multi-points from Sillinger. Power play was 1 for 1. PK was 1 for 3. Pavicic was in net. 23 of 26 saves for him. Saturday, it was a shootout win, but goes down for the NCAA as a tie. Standings-wise, for the NCHC, really big win there. Goals 2 of them from Schlane, Smolin with another one, multi-points from Schlane and Sillinger. Very good weekend for both guys there. Schlane now has 23 points in 14 straight games. That leads the conference also in conference goals with 13 total goals. For the power play, ASU 1 for 7, not very good there. PK though, much better, 4 for 4. Gibson Homer was in net, 32 of 35 on the day. Now this upcoming week, ASU has probably the biggest weekend in college hockey history for them. They face Western Michigan, number 3 in the country, number 1 in the conference. This is for top spot in the NCHC. Western Michigan, 45 points through 18 games. ASU, 40 points through 20 games. Omaha, 38 points through 20 games. This game, 2 games at home. Arizona State needs both wins in regulation in order to leapfrog Western Michigan. An overtime win will potentially not give them that opportunity. So 2 regulation wins, 6 points is a must for Arizona State. It's going to be a tough weekend. Western Michigan is a very good team. 8-3 on the road, 22-5-1 overall on the season. They're on a 4-game win streak. They got points in the last 12 games. They have not lost in regulation versus a conference opponent at all this season. Their last loss was coming from Michigan State, a 3-1 loss there, and then the number 1 team in the nation. So another very good loss in Western Michigan's eyes. The Broncos have a couple good players to watch out for. Number 20, Alex Bump, 14 goals, 18 assists, 32 points, 155 shots on the seasons, which leads his team. The next player up has 66 less shots than him. So watch out for Bump. He's going to be shooting the puck a lot. Next up, number 34, Owen Michaels, 14 goals, 9 assists, 23 points, a plus 17 rating. So he's scoring when he's on the rink. And lastly, number 33, Samuel Solind. Hopefully saying that right. 1 goal, 21 assists, 22 points, a plus 11 on the ratings. Very solid defenseman, number 33 there. I think Samuel, Owen, and Alex are going to be players to watch for Western Michigan against Arizona State this year. And the goalie situation, who knows who they're going to put out. Number 31, Cameron Rose, played 16 games. He's 15-1-0, a 928 save percentage, a 1.87 goals against, and a shutout. And their other goalie, number 30, Hampton Schlafniski. He's got 12 games, a 7-4-1 record, a 942 save percentage, a 1.57 goals against average, and 1 shutout. So I would figure probably Cameron Rowe will start the Friday game for the Broncos. But regardless, whoever they go with, it's going to be a tough matchup for Arizona State, who seem to be getting themselves into a lot of bloodbaths when it comes into high profile games like Denver. It was they scored 11 goals, both teams. A lot of goals here. I don't know what the Broncos are going to be giving up that many goals. So ASU is going to have to clean up the defense, really kind of settle in, because they know they need 2 wins in regulation to even give themselves a chance to win the conference. So big game, big weekend for Arizona State hockey. All right, let's head to the cleanup. Ohio State gets a new defensive coordinator, Matt Patricia. He was with New England as a defensive coordinator from 2012 to 2017. Then was the head coach of the Lions from 2018 to 2020. And this last year, he was a senior defense assistant with the Eagles, who just won a Super Bowl. So really big pickup for Ohio State. I really like this one. I think Matt Patricia is going to be great at Ohio State. Miami Dolphins release running back Raheem Mostert. Not too sure really what's about that, but it is a big player being released there. Ludwig Aberg won the Genesis Invitational on the last day. Really good performance by him. Really fun tournament to watch, especially near the end there. A lot of ups and downs for a lot of players. And lastly, William Byron won the 67th running of Daytona 500. This made also him with the back-to-back wins for Daytona 500, making him the 5th driver to do that. So big accomplishments for William Byron in that 24 team. All right, games of the weekend. We got the Four Nations Faceoff championship game, USA Canada, Thursday, 5 p.m. ESPN. I know that's not the weekend, but I have to tell you guys, you gotta watch it. It's gonna be the best game on, regardless of whatever college game's on this upcoming week. Watch the Four Nations Face-Off. It's gonna be electric, regardless of injuries or anything like that. Watch the Four Nations Face-Off game Thursday, 5 p.m. ESPN. Men's basketball, number 8, Iowa State versus number 5, Houston. That's Saturday at 11 a.m. on ESPN. College baseball, number 22, TCU versus number 5, Arkansas, Saturday, 4 p.m. College softball, number 6, Texas A&M versus number 8, Florida State, Saturday, 12 p.m. on ACC Extra. And lastly, college hockey, the best series of the weekend, number 3, Western Michigan at number 12, Arizona State. All right, guys, that will do it for this episode. Thank you guys for listening. If you guys made it this far, I know it's a long episode, but a lot of stuff to talk about, from hockey to jerseys to a bunch of college sports. It's going to probably be packed for the next couple of weeks, so just sit in tight. If you guys are on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, we appreciate you guys listening, but go check out the YouTube channel. We got graphics, we got pictures of a lot of things that help make these episodes a lot easier to listen. But regardless, we appreciate you guys. If you guys are already on the YouTube, make sure you guys hit the like, subscribe, the bell icon, so you guys are notified when these episodes do drop. And let me know, what do you think was the best uniform? Who do you think is going to win the 4 Nations Faceoff? Who do you think's got the best chances this upcoming weekend for college hockey? But we appreciate you guys. Have an awesome weekend. Watch some sports, and we'll see you guys later.